It started, huh? There we go. All ready to roll this morning. For those coming in, my name is Peter SAKIEVICH. I'm an art professor and artist. I teach at the university and also online at myartprofessor.com. And I like to get up every morning to work on something new and something that I'm not that familiar with, and that can range from a wide variety of things. It's been a lot of Blender stuff. I've been working on this Warthog for the last couple weeks, and the plan here is to take it beyond the last study that I did, to use some additional features in Blender. And doing things like this, it expands what my range of things I do can be, and also allows me to bring these kinds of things to my students. So if it's something they're struggling with or have a hard time with, I can hopefully make that a lot easier for them. So I like to come on for about an hour, hour and a half in the morning, first thing, to work on this type of thing. So regardless of whatever else happens during the day, I've done something. So that is the goal here today. So I usually like to start off with something very clear and obvious to myself. I think his feet, like the right proportions, but they're too small. I need to go check that with these other ones, but I think that I shrank them down a little bit too much. I need to make them a little bit bigger and thicker, and I think that will help kind of bring those to finish. I was working a lot on just like making them all by themselves. So I was super zoomed in here, pushing their shapes around, and I think I shrank them down in the process of doing that. So I need to bring their size back up, and then we'll check over some other things and hopefully get into some of the topology stuff today that I want to try out. And then that'll let us do final details on him and do the UV unwrapping and texturing. And then the big thing I want to add to this one is hair. Actually getting into the hair tools so I can mess with that. So I'll need probably look at some tutorials on how to do hair in Blender. It's not supposed to be that hard, I just haven't done it. So anyway, that's what we're going to work on this morning, and hopefully get to some other things later today. So, welcome to my morning study. Yeah, the feet are definitely too small. Alright, not box hide. Box. Soften that up. Alright. And now we are going to transform. I don't remember how do you move your let's see. Move. this thing, Gizmo. Let's see. Location, transform, mesh. Let's see. I'm trying to remember how to move the gizmo. I human, thank you. Settings, location. Did I remember how to do this? This is it right here. I don't see that option up here. Auto masking, topology, master, local. Figure out how to move this. How do you move the gizmo? Move gizmo. Let's see what this guy says. Let's see what this guy says. Didn't answer my question at all. It's like the answer is here. Mm-hmm. Sculpt. Set pivot. Or set pivot. Shift right mouse. Look at that. Okay. Now we got it. Let's rotate. Let's rotate. Let's rotate. Universal scaling. Should do that. There we go. It's too big. Okay. Oh, that's fine. Let's look at clean up the leg a little bit. That is better. Match the proportions I was looking for. So shift right click. Does that work with this? Alright, good to know. So shift right click. Back to sculpt. Let's clear up the mask. And clean up this leg. There. That. Looks like I'm trying my chat, so not that anyone's necessarily saying anything, but I should probably check. Go here to stream. Copy. Activate. There we go. I didn't miss anything. I don't know that I did, but let's go check over here real quick. Alright, good. That looks good now. But, there. Alright. That's better. So, anyway, I was just spending some time trying to remember how to do something, so I think that looks okay. Yeah, I think I shrank the speed down way too much. Okay. Alright, let's continue. Alright, that's better. Yeah, much better. Alright, I fixed that. So hopefully that wasn't a issue for anybody. Well, good morning. Welcome, welcome. Shift right click is. Alright. So I feel better about that. You clean up the ears. Alright, let's see how these eyes look. So that's too pointy. So let's flatten that out. There we go, that's better. Alright. Shift right click. Oh, that's how you get the pivot point moved around. So now I know. Good morning, good morning. Move that ears up a little bit. Let's see. I think I might shift to the Dino Topo approach. Work on some of these details. back on the portrait today, I think. So that's good. Let's see. Over here. Alright, I'll move those gears. Tab, project, here. Just gotta come forward a little bit. Alright, here's the go. Alright, let's work on this gear. Where are you? Oh, I'm just sculpting. Ah, what's going on here? What are we doing here? We got sculpt on. There's some weird thing where there's like two sets of these ears. I don't understand why. Maybe one is like a duplicate. Try to delete you. Get rid of that one too. It's on both of these. I don't know why it's in two different areas. Alright, let's see what I did here. Alright, let's see. Blender unlink. Ah. It's touchable. Alright, now it's working. I don't know. Alright, I think we're better now. It just doesn't. Oh, maybe it's because it's mirrored. Like, I see. I see. Let's go ahead if we can flip that. Images. Analyze. No. Selection. There we go. Flip horizontal. There we go. There we go. I figured it out. Turns out I'm just, not smart. This is part of why I'm doing this morning study process. Is that there's a lot of things I want to be kind of more comfortable with inside of these programs. Like I'm looking here, I need to move like this ear stuff down quite a bit. I haven't touched the ears in forever. So down. Fix up this shape. Forward. So now I know. I'm trying to figure out how to do something. Turned out I didn't know anything about it at all. I mean, they're not all going to be the same looking gears and all the work on it, but they're going to follow a similar structure, right? Which one's going to like cut in? So it needs to cut up somewhere. The animals have these ears, these different shapes on them for very specific reasons. Needs to be inflated. There. And then let's try to bring that in some more. So. This would be like a plane, basically. So, look at these ears. I haven't touched the ears in a while, so there's a bunch of stuff to do over here. In. Let's see. be here, right? It's interesting, there's the discourse going on today. There was the concept art book for Spider-Man Brand New Day came out, I guess yesterday or the day before, and some people have noticed that at least one of the concept pieces in there is AI, like really obviously AI. So a lot of people are chatting about that on the Twitter. But it's happening a lot in Hollywood, which of course is very, pathetic and disappointing. So it's hard to, deal with that. I think to a certain degree because I think there's, Hollywood is Hollywood, and they're going to Hollywood all over the Hollywood, and the only thing you can do is choose to not partake. So, it's my thought is like, there's so much stuff I haven't, seen or looked at that it's like I don't really need what they have to offer anyway. So, but I think quite a bit over here. Okay, 'cause they're not. I need to just since they're mirrored anyway, mirror it this way. That's why I didn't have the mirror on. Let's just go ahead and apply that. So now I can do that. There you go. Push that here in and out. This looks terrible. So, but that's definitely become a topic. And seems to be this belief that you can shortchange and shortcut the creative process, and I've never really seen any evidence that that's really true. Like if you're really trying to make something that's going to have some kind of long-lasting value, then you got to make it that way. Let's see, what is my rematch set to now? Rest of the body. The excuses I hear around are just kind of insane too. It's just It doesn't matter if it's just, for the ideas. It's like, that's like the whole foundation of your film. Like, the execution should, in theory, be the easiest part to deal with. You've got the right ideas. So, let's get the front view up here. Got a bunch of reference up here I've collected for this project, so that got a bit of the figures. That's probably more of what I want right there. Let's see. Symmetrize. Oh, wrong one. Where'd you go? Object. Let's see. Control. Actually, let's just do edit. Alt Z. Let's just delete those. Object. Let's add a mirror. Grab our empty. And then we will apply. And we'll go into sculpting. Turn off our invisibility mode, and then make sure our X is turned on up there. Okay, there it is turned on. Mirroring. Let's try it here. Okay, that's on. It's the mirroring. The mirroring. Let's try it. Object mode. Let's go Control Alt. Control A. Rotation scale. Modifications maybe. Sculpt. There we go. That's working. There we go. That was weird. Alright, anyway. Where were we? Make sure they're still the same. Remesh needs to get set to. Maybe set to down here is your body person. You're set to 0.005. Let's sculpt. Use. Remesh should be 0.005. I think I unbroke everything that was breaking. Hi, puppy. Alright. That's better. Where's that? Those earshot I was working with. Forward. So, yeah, so definitely, one of the big goals again is learning some stuff here and figuring out how to be more, what I call Blender fluent. So if there's something I want to do, it's a lot easier for me to do. Having to fight the machine all the time. So that's one thing is learning that shift right click will allow me to move the cursor around. Yeah. Much, much better. Mm-hmm. Hey, Bosch moved over there, huh? It's funny with my dog. You see him, he's like, sees his brain working. He's like, I'm thinking about what did I want to do? Just scratch the back of my arm. That's what I'll do. Let's see. Alright. Let's see. Let's go here. A little bit about where that ear is. Maybe I'll work on merging it with the body a little bit here. Like so. there. We will throw on a little local color just to have it in the render modes. Bring down in value. I'm going to warm it up a little bit. Warm. I think. Like that. We'll say this flat. This is skin. Basic. Bump up that roughness. Subsurface a little bit, and we'll go ahead and add that one there. And the tusks, just so we have some color to look at here. Just for fun. Let's see, they're kind of yellow-white. Like that. And we'll do that over here too. Spelled it. And eyes. This will be dark brown. Very metallic, very low roughness. More metallic. Some alpha just to make it transparent for fun. Alright. So just if I put in a render mode, it kind of helps, I guess, to have a little color on here, right? Just so you can see what's what. It doesn't need a tail. I haven't put a tail on there yet. So, I think we got some good private ears. Look so much better than before. Then I go back to sculpt. Right? Interesting the difference, being able to see it that way. So, yeah, it's better. Just being able to kind of see some color on there. And if we turn on, I've got this lens shot. I've used this before. I'm going to use it for something else. Let's see. RGB separation. That's always fun. We're going to throw on there a little bit. In camera. There we go. Actually, not in camera. Is that on? Look at that. That's fun. And then view. First off, let's just want to kind of do a little check here. How's that for some RGB separation? Is that perfect? Probably not. Like a little bit's okay. All right, Bosch. And then save. That would do color. Contrast might be okay. Pump up the contrast a little bit. I think he's starting to come along, feeling very warthogish. Not that anyone cares about warthogs, but you know, it's just closer. It's nice to have those kind of things available. All right. So we were working on the ears, which feels so much better. Let's get back to this body here. We got about half an hour left, so we got lots of time. Yeah, so at 9, stop at 9 my time. Actually, get a camera view, I guess. Good morning, good morning. Better. Let's see, anything else over here I should do? Planning on stretching stuff out too much anymore, so maybe this is an opportunity to start using some dino topper. His eyes and such. The folds that are going on there. fit into these eyes, right? Window to the soul of the warthog. Let's try Dino Taco. Let's see, let's look at those settings. Retail size, subdivision collapse. Too big. Let's see. Blunt edges. That's better. In. Good morning, good morning. Appreciate the likes. Good morning, good morning. Do let me know if there's any questions out there. I'm just working through my little morning study project here where I like to do, get better at something or learn something new. And so it's been a big Blender kick lately. Got other things I want to do here, but I wanted to do a few of these animal studies. While I'm here. So I think we're at the point where I can really start using Dino Taco. So where to go? Dino Taco. Should I make the resolution? Let's see how if I move this resolution down. If I cut it in half, what does that look like? Actually, smaller or larger? Looks like it's smaller. Yeah, this is way down on the form priorities list. opacity. It should be. It's not actually doing what I think it's doing. Detail, relative detail, brush detail. Brush detail. Buttons, so it's a similar process to what you would use in ZBrush here, but buttons work a little differently, and of course the detailed load that Blender can do versus something like ZBrush or even one that Sculpt is not quite the same. It's better than it used to be, I guess, but yeah, that's the effect I've been looking for, is this. But so it definitely kind of chugged a little bit here. I'm trying to see often. Um, yeah, that's much better than what I was looking for. It's fine details. But it's called Dino Topo, and in ZBrush they call it Sculptress. Is what they call it in what's it called? Nomad Sculpt. Basically, it kind of subdivides it as you go, but it's using triangles, so it's not like clean, but allows you to kind of focus polygonal detail in specific areas. So if you kind of change your brush size, it also changes the size of those polygons. So it kind of gives you a intuitive almost approach to the kind of the shaping and the detail that you want to put in while you have it active. But it doesn't give you what we would call a clean mesh. Right? So it's not quad based or based on the structures you might need if you wanted to, say, pose it or animate it or something like that. But it does allow you to get these details in, which then you can put onto the clean mesh later on, which you're able to do eventually. Once I kind of get all the detailing I want in. Probably putting too much in there. I'm not really intending to really show too close up. But you know, I always take things too far anyway, so who knows what I'll do here. I'm only going to do this, and then I end up doing a lot more. Like one of the things I really want to do with this, of course, is more of the um, more of the texture stuff that I like to do on there. But there's certain kind of details I do want to put in there for sure. So if I ahead of time. But, you know, it's fun to kind of get in on some of these smaller regions. I think. So, yeah, I got about 10 more minutes. So definitely, yeah, I learned some new things today. For me, just to, I probably learned it before, but I forgot. One was, you know, how to move the gizmo around, which I was trying to figure out once before, but couldn't quite find it, I guess. One of the technique-y things I like to do when I'm drawing or even when I'm sculpting here is I'll put in some kind of like sharp detail like that and then just kind of soften it. I feel like that kind of helps with the process. Or like put on clean planes like that. Or just help me kind of see what's really going on. Right, Bosch? So saith my dog, right? So I think one of the brushes, well, there's the standard brush, but I think also like the inflate brushes. One worth paying attention to. It kind of gives you that little extra oomph. So, forward. Ooch. Put a detail in there. So, yeah, just a few minutes left. And then move on to other things I got to do this morning. The school stuff will take priority. How many have been work? How many hours? I'm not sure actually. Let's see if I go over to my YouTube. Look at the live stream. I've done it all online, so I can see exactly. Kind of working in some of these details around the eyes. Let's put it in the camera. You can see it on the. Let's see. I started it. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 times 90 minutes, right? Whatever that works out to. So 8, 12-ish hours, I guess, 13 hours. So let's see, kind of right there. There's the YouTube. This is where I started it down here. That was me doing some comic coloring, and then the rest of this stuff. So I did skip yesterday, but in terms of working on anything. through some kind of basic textures on here. A little bit of I've got this compositor add-on called Blend Shop in here. Lets me do like some of this color separation stuff. But yeah, so about that long. And then I was working actually longer on this other one. Let's see, where are you? This guy right here. So just kind of putting myself through some of these processes inside of Blender. So my goal is, I want to do a bust and do the UVing, with retopology, the UVing, then the texturing, hand painting it in here, and adding some material nodes to it. And then that was the result. I should do like a final render of it, but I'm only working on this kind of during these morning study sessions. So I've got other things I have to do, but it's something I wanted to get much better at. So today we worked on the ears a bunch. I made the feet bigger. They were too small. So they're very dainty. So that's right. I started down there, and then we've been working on the ears a bunch. Got those kind of fixed up, so they look much better. If you were to scroll back to the beginning, you can see how they looked. So I'm going to grab got a bunch of reference here. So I want to, and yeah, worked on the ears. So it's like the ears I haven't touched in a long time. I haven't touched the tusks in a long time. You can see it's kind of just floating there, like that extra little tusk tooth thing. So I'm kind of focusing in on some of these detail areas. So when I retopologize, it'll work better. I found a new retopology tool that's relatively inexpensive called Quad Remesh. Not you can use the Quad Remesher. And it's supposed to work a lot more like ZBrush, where you can actually draw, you can paint heat maps of detail areas on it, and you can also put on curves, help define some of the flow. So I could drop curves on the body, like along the neck or around the shoulders or around the arms, just to help make sure the flow of the geometry is actually helpful. And so the other ones I was using, they kind of do, the one I was using with the lizard head, it was kind of this more of a default approach where it just kind of, it does an okay job, but if you want to pose something or anything like that, or you want to focus detail in it, then it doesn't really let you do that. And apparently this one does. I haven't tried it out yet, so maybe I should run some experiments with it before I do that. But yeah, so this is what we got to today. A little bit of slowdown at the beginning. I was trying to figure out how to do something that I did not know how to do, which was how to move the gizmo around. And now I do. So anyway, I think that's going to be it for this morning. I appreciate everybody that came in. And we will talk at you all later.